Well, this is my manual tire changer, and I just popped off a tire. You can see it looks good, right? But there's something wrong with it. It's not the balancing, and you can see all those balancing beads I got in there. Kept putting more and more, just wouldn't do nothing. And you know, this tire can handle balancing beads. I know the low profile ones can't, but this one can. It's a 215 7015. It goes on a little Samurai, and I had it on the front, and I was getting a shaking at about between 40 and 48 miles an hour, around 45 miles an hour. And I couldn't figure it out. I thought it was the front end because the tires look good, they were balanced. I put this tire on the back, and it went away. But I could still feel it a little bit, so I figured I'm going to change it out. I got like a virtually new tire right here. It's the same one. It's a Douglas again, but I had it in a bag. It's a few years old, but I sprayed it down with the protectant, the marine protectant, and it was in a plastic bag, and it's been sprayed down on the inside and the outside, so it should be good to go. I'm going to put that tire on the back now, changing out with the manual tire changer. And the manual tire changer, if it's like 95 degrees out, the tires come off a lot easier. Even if you're going to be doing this manual tire changer and say it's like 20 degrees out, it ain't going to work outside. You're going to have to bring it inside, get your heater way the hell up there, get everything at least 70 degrees. It works a lot better. I use a little grease or soap, even when I'm in even these kind of tires, which are fairly easy to do, to get them on and off. Because I'm going to put these balancing beads in the other one. And this one I'm going to mark. Looks good, but it's got a problem. It causes a wobble. It's got something physically wrong with it that you can't tell that causes it to have a wobble at a certain speed. I don't want to be driving all the way up to Dixie County next week with that tire, because you know, it seems like it's okay on the back, but you don't know. So you got to, you know, ounce of prevention is worth 10 pounds of cure. And then the other thing is, it could be doing something to cause a vibration to wear out. Maybe your axle bearing, they've already been changed on this thing. You know, one thing leads to another. Like I had a little hole in a muffler, and I left it alone, and the heat from that hole was getting up in the wiring, and it caused the wires to fuse together, and I had to rewire all the rear tail lights and stuff, the backup lights, and I still actually have to change the fuel sending unit. That got screwed up a little bit. It works pretty good. It's a little bit flaky. Sometimes it'll say full too long, then it goes at a certain point in the gas tank, it goes to E, and it's not on E when it's around 3/4. Then it goes down a little bit more, it goes back up to half. It's got a dead spot on it. So I got the fuel sending unit, but I didn't change it yet. I'll probably be changing that soon. But I got to do this El Camino. Might have a rod bearing problem. It's got a knock at idle. If you kind of like give it like 1500 RPMs at idle, the knock goes away. I don't think I can fix that in the car. I'm going to try to. I'm going to just see if I can even try to fix it in the car with a new bearing and polishing out the journal with a new slightly undersized bearing. I don't even know if that's the problem, but I put a can of, what do you call it, gasket sealer in there, and you know, for like a rear main seal, because it has a rear main seal leak, and it now that didn't really break it, but it was basically on its way out. So here I was driving down the highway to get off the ramp, and I'm hearing this noise. I'm like, I thought maybe it was my exhaust system, but I don't think so. So I got to get on like the master mechanic from hell. Start getting on all this shit. Make sure everything's freaking locked down as much as possible. Sort of like Cooter's Garage would do. Dixie Motor Oil, all that wonderful stuff. I'm gonna have to freaking do this stuff. So, but yeah, if you got a problem, even if it's a minor problem, take care of it right away, because I never expected the muffler, like my muffler on that El Camino was leaking for most of the time I owned it. It never caused a problem where one of the wires melted though. And it actually fused a bunch of wires together on this thing, and I couldn't figure out what the hell was wrong with it. And it was melting my backup light, which I thought was shorting. It's actually the exhaust system that was another part of the exhaust system. So I changed that out. So I am changing this tire, even though it looks good. It seems to work okay on the back, no problem. But you'll be driving down the road, and one of these days, all of a sudden it'll start going thump, 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 thump. It'll start, another cord will pop out or something, and it'll start getting worse. So, yeah, and I will, the front ones, the reason I have an extra one up there is I decided to get a couple of Firestone winter force for the front. Because I was thinking, with this thing, if you have a problem with a tire, with this little short wheelbase, skinny, this thing's actually 3.5 inches more narrow than the Samurai. It's like the year before. It's like, it's a SJ 413 or Jimny 1300. See right there? It's actually 3.5 more inches more narrow than the Samurai. So if you have a problem with a front tire, so that's why I've got, even after I bought all the Douglas tires, I got a couple Firestone Winter Force. I put them on the front only just to, so I figure if I got a back tire problem, it won't be as bad. And turned out one of the Douglas tires was, well, that was when I figured out, when I found out that Douglas tire was bad, I swapped them to the back, you know. And well, we're putting a new one in there. Well, almost new. I think this tire's probably got 1,000 miles on it. And it was well protected with Marine Protectant 303 on the inside and the outside. So we'll put the balancing beads in there and get it installed. But you know, if I got to drive 100 miles each way with this damn thing running right, so I want no problems.